Thank you all for joining us. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Earlier, we were talking about the war on Christianity. Hank from Boise joins us now. Hank, good morning.
The Democrats' stand of looking the other way is based on power and money. I mean, the Democrats at their bottom, and the fact of the matter is that the Muslim communities in Minneapolis and in Detroit deliver 95% plus for the Democrats. And this will be critical of a close election. It was a key to keeping Minnesota out of Trump's column in the last election. Are you still there?
I'm here, Hank.
Okay. And so Omar knows that she can say anything and get away with it because of the importance of the Muslim vote in Minneapolis. And this is the bottom line of the Democrats. But Joe Biden starts off with the Charlottesville incident. That's deliberate. It's identity politics where you ban a bunch of minority groups and pit them against the whites, and in hope that them changing demographics change the politics where the Democrats are permanently entrenched in power. This is their.
It's funny, Hank, and you're right about that. And for years, you've had the media talking about the changing face of America, and America needs to be more diverse, as if the majority whites that ran America for years were bad people. Now, you and I aren't perfect, but to be condemned because of your race, that ain't what Dr. King talked about, and the idea that Democrats are worried that a white man could be at the top of their ticket. And for years, I've talked back to my television, and I've said, these people that vilify America, there's still a majority of the population that are white that don't vote identity politics. Case in point, Barack Obama elected and reelected. And I go back to Donald Trump. Donald Trump proved identity politics still do not work in America today. And just because somebody is a minority doesn't mean that they don't believe in America. Yet whites and minorities are constantly fed the anti-America propaganda by the libs and their acolytes in the Democratic Party. If what's her name, Omar, were, let's say, a white Christian from Macon, Georgia, and said those things about the Islamic faith or an Islamic country, they would have been run out of office. I mean, the idea that she had a tweet back in the day talking about the American soldiers killing the innocent Somalis that were trying to kill us should be grounds for her to be thrown out of office now already. Disqualification, Representative Omar.
Well, I think what she did was I mean, it was beyond beneath contempt. But she knows she can get away with it. The Democrats rely on that. And the thing is that Biden's tactic of going to Pennsylvania and going for the union thing is key. He's the only Democrat that actually could upset Trump's coalition by, among traditional Democrats. It's just like your friend that he was active in Pennsylvania politics that you had occasionally call. I imagine that he would be probably a firm believer in having Biden with the gentleman from Pittsburgh or that area.
Actually, that's a good idea. If we have, probably not tomorrow at the schools. Next week we'll get Jim Byrne on. And look, the Pittsburgh Democratic Party, and this is probably one of the reasons I don't work in Pittsburgh anymore, has been in power longer than the old Soviet Union. That's just how they are, man. And I just think that Biden is going to have a problem with the base. Now, maybe he gets, one of the more progressive crazies. I don't know. Probably two white guys on the Democratic ticket is a thing of the past. You're not going to, even though he's gay, that's probably not liberal enough for, if you had Biden Buttigieg or whatever his name is. No,
I was wondering. I understand that he has a partner, a married partner. I wonder if we're going to call him the first gentleman.
The first gentleman, the first dude.
Well, first lady, first gentleman.
And what would that say about America? Would that say that America is more gay friendly than more feminist friendly if we elect our first gay president over our first woman president. Does that mean that by electing Buttigieg or Buddha, that were sexist against women? Because that was Hillary Clinton's whole argument.
Well, it's pitting one group against another,
right,
and building a coalition.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
But you go back to Trump, I just don't see Joe Biden having the street cred that Trump does. I think that he'll try and play Trump's game, and I don't see it going there. Is he going to motivate the uber minority coalition that Barack Obama did? Remember, Barack Obama had this historic coalition that no one has been able to replicate yet on the Democratic side. I mean, for people that love Ocasio-Cortez or Omar or Tlaib or all these, I'm every woman, I'm a minority, America's evil, blah, 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 are they going to be motivated to vote for Joe Biden?
I don't know if he, I'm inclined to think that Bernie's going to ultimately be in the end, but Bernie, the nominee, I think that he's probably the one that's probably.
But they hate Bernie because Bernie ain't one of them.
Yes, but Bernie has a coalition of his own that I think appeals to a greater part of the voting base of the radical left and the Democrats. And it's the radicals and the Democrats that dominate the nomination. That's where Biden is weekend. Sure. Biden would be the best general election candidate against Trump that the Democrats could have, that I can foresee in this bunch. But I don't see he's going to be necessarily the strongest candidate for winning the nomination.
Hank, I appreciate your patience, and I appreciate you listening every day to KIDO Talk Radio, brother.
Well, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. There we have it, our great friend Hank. And here we have it, a young man that made himself known and infamous and famous during our many debate watch parties. The return of Earl in Meridian on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Earl.
Bless you, Kevin. Bless your staff. Wonderful show as usual. Just had to make a comment on the diversification issue. I really find it interesting that they look upon diversity as one component, and it being race and race alone, or race and sex, those two things alone. All the people that conglomerated here in America were from different areas of Europe and came from very economic diverse backgrounds, came from religious diverse backgrounds, and they may all, quote, be white, but that does not mean that they are all of the same background. And it disturbs me when they lump and they say, oh, well, all white people, and then it's everybody against all white people. The white population is just as diverse as any other populace. To say that all African Americans just are African alone, coming from just one specific region of Africa, is not appropriate. They come from all different areas of Africa. They can be white and black and of different colors of skin. So this racial diversity issue is really bothering me when it comes to this election, and how they are deciding to fracture us upon this issue. And they do it every year, and we cower instead of saying we are diverse. We are a diverse populace, maybe not surface, but we have diversity in almost every other type of area that's necessary for us to be a successful party. And I think you're going to quickly see, with the different backgrounds being represented in the Democrat Party, that they're going to bifurcate and totally come apart because they can't make up their mind where they want to go. Are they going to impeach? They're not going to impeach. And it's because their diversity is so strong, they have no unifying points at all.
Well, their unifying point is they hate Trump.
Yes, which does not a policy make. They can hate Trump all day long, but they don't come forward with one responsible policy. And I think the American people are at the point to where we're taking somebody that sometimes has some questionable moral personal qualities, but at the same time is a really good president that he's leading. He says what he's going to do, and when he does it, we have somebody that's doing that. And I think people are willing to put up with somebody who speaks the truth as far as, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to accomplish, and he does that, as opposed to we hate, but we have no policy that anybody likes, like Obamacare, like keeping immigration at a standstill instead of letting it move forward to some sort of conclusion. Are we going to open our borders more, or are we going to close them? Get off your duffs and vote, gentlemen and ladies of the Congress.
Well, who do you think is the big threat here, if anybody, with these 20 Democrats?
I don't think they have a big threat. I think if they go with Biden, that they are definitely going to alienate the radical portion of their wing. I would be just shocked to see them run Hillary again. That would just be dumbfounding. I don't know what would make them think to do that. The mayor, gentleman, who I have not paid as probably close of attention to as I should have, seems to be a person that's likable and could have some impact upon the election when it comes to maybe swinging some of the voters that are swayed that way just by personality alone as opposed to policies. So he's about the only one I'm seeing right now that I really think poses a real imminent threat, with his ideas also being as radical as they are. So he seems, he's number 3 right now, I believe, the mayor from Indiana.
Yeah, he is, but he hasn't really been vetted yet.
Yes, and that's very true too. But to be as popular as he is this early on and have that likability quotient, that's going to be interesting to see because he appeals to the radical base, yet he appears normal. I shouldn't say he appears normal. He appears as if he is not as radicalized as the other Democrats, but his policy seems to be as radical as the radical base is.
Fair enough. Thank you, Earl.
Hey, Kevin, thank you. Tell your staff, great show. I have been listening. It's just I work some different hours now, so it's harder to call in. So love your show. Please keep doing the stupendous, amazing work you're doing for Idaho. We really need it.
Thank you, Earl. God bless.
God bless, sir. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to Blair in Boise with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Blair.
Hey, Kevin. Hey, before the revelations about Joe Biden's son getting sweet deals from, Ukraine and China and probably several others that we don't know of, he was the front runner, and he was the only one that polled well against Trump. But almost every other person has severe issues. I mean, you look at Kamala Harris and the revelations about how she got to her position in the first place. That doesn't win her a whole lot of points, and either the feminists or anybody else in her party, really.
Yeah, but if you attack her for sleeping with Mayor Willie Brown, who he admitted to, and how she, moved up the ladder. And again, we'll say allegations, but they've been made public in published reports. You're attacking her not based on what she did, her actions, but because of who she is, because she's a woman of color, she's a liberal, and you're being mean-spirited. Think of all the people that are...
Not the feminists, though, don't view it that way. The feminists view this as, well, that was the only way she could rise to power in the first place. They don't see her as a strong woman of color at all.
Yeah.
I mean, when you do what she did to get to where she was, she totally alienates all of those. And then we have her issues on the criminality where she's, early in her career, she was very against the criminals, and now she's trying to do a 180. I don't see her getting very far.
Well, and then she was smoking dope, but now she wants to, I don't know if she wants to decriminalize marijuana, but it seems to be that way.
Yeah, I mean, the mayor from Indiana, he's got issues too, where it's now come out that, he's been going after Mike Pence, and Mike Pence has done nothing but be nice to the guy. I mean, they have talk after talk, and the things that he accused Mike Pence of saying, there's no record whatsoever of Mike Pence ever saying that. And in fact, they have record of him saying just the opposite. So when it comes to credibility issues, I think he's treading on thin water. And then you got Cory Spartacus Booker. That one's just going to dog him till the day he retires from politics. You've got Amy Klobuchar, who couldn't even fill a small auditorium, couldn't get anybody to clap for her during her presentation. I think the whole Democratic field is one nut job after another.
Blair, I couldn't have said it better myself. One nut job after another. You have a great day, sir.
Thanks, you too, and keep doing a great job.
Appreciate you. Coming up next, security guard Mike, Max, and you with me, Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And coming up next, Mayor Buttigieg takes on Franklin Graham. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Joe Biden jumping into the race, getting your reaction. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Security Guard Mike joins us now. Good morning, Security Guard Mike.
Well, good morning, Kevin Miller, on this beautiful climate-changing day that we got here in Boise, Idaho. Oh, it's spring. Never mind, I forgot. Anyway, hey, just wanted to let you know, I was thinking about this Democrat thing. They got so many whack jobs, so many people that are way out there, way beyond what Hillary Clinton is. Personally, I think she's going to make another run. I think she's going to make another run because they're going to say, look, these people are so nutty, they're not going to be able to mount a good campaign against Donald Trump. So I think they're going to let them all play themselves out this early in the game, and then they're going to say Hillary's going to come to the rescue and try to save the Democratic Party once again. I think it's a whole big plot, in my opinion. I think they're going to push Hillary Clinton once again. Well, she's going to get stomped on, but I think that's the plot. Let all these crazy Democrats come out and be as diverse and crazy as they want, go as far left as they can possibly go, and then they're going to push Hillary right back into the limelight and against Donald Trump, and then she's going to say he's evil against women and all that stuff. And I think they're going to push the same narrative, and I think they're going to get creamed.
I don't know. I don't think the Democrats like Hillary anymore. They look at her as a failure. I mean, if you're Costco Cortez, Hillary Clinton's yesterday's news. You're hip.
Oh well, maybe you're right, but I just think that and the other thing I think we got to pay attention to is like they said that they did in Minnesota. They brought in 80,000 Islam people from all over the Middle East and stuff, and they concentrated them up there, and that's how Ilhan was getting in. We better start paying attention down to Twin Falls, Idaho. That's where they're also pushing a large concentration of Islamic people in there with Chobani and all that stuff down there. And I think we're going to wind up here caught with our pants down here in Idaho ourselves when we don't start paying attention. That's what I think.
Well, the libs are moving in. The libs are moving in.
Oh, yes, they are. And God help us. God help us for at least 4 more years. Thank God for Donald Trump. And hopefully we can get our act together and get somebody who's going to be running after Donald Trump, because we got to start looking 10 years down the road here, 20 years down the road, to keep America great again and make it stay great. And once Donald Trump has done all this, I mean, we could easily go backslide. Now, I don't want no backsliding. Kevin Miller, you're awesome. I love you, and you have a wonderful day, and your show is great, and I listen to you all the time. You're a wonderful man.
You're a hard-working troop, and we love you, and we thank you for your service, Security Guard Mike.
You too, good buddy. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye. Max, you're next. First, traffic and weather together, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Dave. And we thank him for his patience. KIDO Talk Radio's Max in Garden City.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for my patience, but I'm retired. I don't have any patience anymore.
That's a good one.
That was so funny. Yeah. You know, by and large, Democrats are drones. They're unthinking, but they're highly organized. I look at people my age, for Pete's sake, people in their 60s, and they don't think. They're literally, Democrat must vote Democrat. They're drones. So it doesn't really matter which candidate the party puts forward. I honestly believe they could run a ham sandwich on the ballot, and the Democrats would vote ham, bread, mayonnaise. My big fear is that California, Texas, and Florida are going to see record numbers of illegal alien votes, green carded votes. They're going to see so many of these, and if we lose those 3 states, Mr. Trump cannot win. We need to keep our eyes on the prize. We need to keep looking at immigration. Look at the catastrophe on the border. The fact that we are being invaded minute by minute by illegal aliens. They're just swarming over the border, kind of like a human wave charge when China was helping Korea. There are just too many to deal with. If we don't take a strong action and look at the voting as well, we had a lot of fraudulent voting last time, back in 2016. How many more? I know 5 people here personally who are green carded, legal immigrants, fine people, and 3 of them firmly believe that they have the right to vote because they have a green card. Earth calling. How do we educate the immigrants and round up the aliens? There being a distinct difference.
Look, buddy, you just make sure you get your star ID card and you make sure that you are in compliance. Everybody else, they can run wild and free, but I'm worried about people like you and your ilk.
Well, you should be. The star card is a link to freedom. It is the glorious joy of bending over for the federal government and allowing their overreach to be underreach. Personally, you and me, I'm not going to get one. I have a passport.
Ooh.
That's fine enough.
Big time.
You can keep your star card.
Max, thank you.
Take care, buddy.
All right. Coming up next, Terrence from State College, Pennsylvania, and Kyle Petty returns. All that and more, waking up on the right side. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning, Maggie. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Joined once again by Kyle Petty, NASCAR great, broadcaster, philanthropist, and motorcycle rider. Mr. Petty, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, man.
You know, you're getting ready for your big ride across America. Last time we had you on, we were talking about the Victory Junction. But before we get to that, I'm going to see if I can to try to get Mr. Petty to get you in trouble. Is that all right with you, sir?
That's all right. That's all right, man. I stay in trouble.
Okay. Is NASCAR America's sport?
That's an excellent question. I would say this is what I would say. There are pockets of America where NASCAR is America's sport.
Sure.
I don't think it's total, but I think there are pockets where these people live, breathe, eat, and sleep NASCAR racing, just like they do hockey in the Northeast, just like they do football in certain cities or basketball. So yes, I think there's pockets of it that you'd be hard pressed to find. And it appears to be kind of in that SEC territory. If you look at that, the Southeastern Conference, that football and NASCAR go together there.
I'm with you. So out in the West, would you recommend going to a race? And if you had to pick between, I don't know, Vegas, Phoenix, and Sonoma, what would be the preferred race to get that one authentic taste? Is that possible?
Well, golly, man. Those are and honestly, those are 3 totally distinctive racetracks. Where you go to Sonoma, you get that road course feel, and the road courses have been on the rise the last few years as far as popularity. Forever, fans did not like stock cars and NASCAR on the road courses, and then there have been some of the best racing that we've had on the road courses the last 2 or 3 years. So Sonoma is different, and I would say if you like wine, go to Sonoma and enjoy a couple of days in the wine country, and then go to the race. It makes the race more entertaining if you've been to the wine country first. Vegas is just Vegas, baby. That's all there is. And what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's kind of that way. It's a speedway race, and Phoenix is more of a short track. If you want to understand or get more into the short track feel of what NASCAR is or what your local short tracks are, then you say Phoenix. So it would be really hard to choose because there's 3 totally different experiences for a fan.
Kyle Petty joining us, Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. You know, we've had a changing of the guard, and you and your family have been so involved, the DNA of NASCAR for years. I don't even know if you call them millennials anymore that have taken over. I can remember when Jimmy Johnson was a rookie, and now he's like the senior guy on the tour.
Yeah, it's funny, and it's fascinating because I will say, and we talk about it. We talk about it on TV all the time because that's the storyline: the changing of the guard, the young guns, the young drivers, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones, and I think we forget about Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick and some of these guys. And you know what? They're still the guys winning races. The old guys, the young guys are there. I'm going to give you that. The young guys are there, but they're not making their impact felt like Jimmy Johnson did when he first came in, like Jeff Gordon did. Yes, there is a change in the guard because we have these guys that are going to retire at 43, 44, and it's going to be left in the lap of these guys that are 21, 22, 23. But these guys, they've got to start winning races to be a viable option or to be somebody. I mean, nobody's going to pull for you just because, hey, you're the young gun. You know what I mean? They're going to pull for you because, hey, that's the young gun that beats everybody. And that's kind of it. So there is a change in the guard, but it's going to take a few more years.
Kyle Petty joining us, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Okay, from my attempt at getting in trouble to one of the dumbest questions, what's it like to drive one of those cars at dangerous speeds, sir, and why do people do it?
Well, listen, obviously I have a flaw in my DNA. That's what I tell people when it started with my granddad and it was passed on to my dad and then passed on to me. So it's hereditary. And you know what? It's funny because in all the years that I ever drove, and I knew that it was dangerous, and I knew that it could be there. You just somehow you always have that attitude, and I think everybody has this somewhere, that it's always going to happen to somebody else. It never happens to you. And then when Adam's accident happened and he was killed, then you realize it is close, and it's always there with you. But it's just what we did, and I tell people that. I tell people it's funny for me because I grew up in the rural South, where most of my neighbors were dairy farmers or tobacco farmers. I know that's not politically correct, tobacco farmers or chicken farmers, and there were plenty of fourth and fifth generation farms around where I lived. We just happened to be a third or fourth generation race car farm. That's what we did. So it was nothing to go into the business that your dad went into and that your family had been in. Everything was a family business here. So I never thought about doing anything else. And it's exhilarating to drive a car at speed and to be able to race and know you're racing against some of the best people in the world.
Kyle Petty joining us, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Let's talk about the Kyle Petty charity ride just around the corner, sir.
Just around the corner. It is, man. We leave. As a matter of fact, I leave tomorrow from here in North Carolina and fly out to Seattle. That's our base. That's where we're starting at. And then we're a week away. As of tomorrow, we're a week away. We're going to be coming through Ontario, Oregon. We'll be spending the night there on May 3rd at the Clarion, or as my sister calls it, the Clariton. But it's the Clarion. And we'll be there and going to have a big party in the parking lot. The mayor's coming out there in Ontario, so we're excited about that and want fans to come out there. And then the next day we go over to we pass through Bliss, Idaho, and we're going to be at Stinker at the Bliss Country Store there. We'll be there for lunchtime, about 12:30. So we're just driving through y'all's area a little bit, but the scenery is going to be gorgeous, and I've just heard your weather report. Y'all got great weather out there today. Just keep it for another week. That's all I need.
Oh, the weather's always great here. Sir, finally, when we had you on the last time, you spoke from your heart about Victory Junction. Quote, hey, if you have a child, just get them here. We'll take care of them. For people that missed, what is Victory Junction? Can you tell us?
Yeah, Victory Junction is a camp for children with chronic and life-threatening illnesses. We see different disorders from gastrointestinal, Crohn's, blood disorders as far as AIDS and hemophilia. We see burn victims. We see certain forms of cancer, spina bifida, and it allows a child to come to camp and go to a camp and ride a horse and fish and do arts and crafts and play sports and do everything that a child would do at Boy Scout camp or Girl Scout or YMCA camp, whatever that may be. But it's a medically safe environment. We have doctors on staff. We have nurses. Sometimes we have as many as 60 nurses that are there during the course of a week. And I tell people in real simplistic terms, it's a hospital disguised as a camp. We can do chemo. We can do dialysis in our medical facility. There's things we can do there, light procedures if we're forced into an emergency situation. So your child is safe. And we just want to give these kids an opportunity to just be kids, to come out, have fun, do things that maybe you've never been able to do because of your illness, and do it totally free of charge because we don't charge. There's no charge to the parents, no charge to the kids. We've seen 30,000 kids. We've been open. This is our 15th anniversary for camp. And we've seen 30,000 kids in the 15 years that we've been here. So the more the merrier, and that's what the Kyle Petty Charity Ride is about, is raising funds so we can send more kids to camp.
Mr. Petty, as always, we appreciate your making time and your service, and loved hearing about the tobacco farms.
Yeah, man. Sorry, that's a Southern thing.
I understand. You have a great day, sir.
Thank you, man. Take care.
There we have it, Kyle Petty. Boy, just wants to make you go get a buttermilk biscuit, right? I don't know if this guy's going to give us that same warm and fuzzy feeling afterwards, but Terrence, the mad texter from State College, Pennsylvania, joins us now with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. I bid adieu to you, sir.
Well, I can't help it. Several of us were sitting around yesterday having coffee, and we were discussing about invading our neighbor, Mexico. And that really got a lot of discussion. So my question is, there's a difference between a patriot or being an American patriot. And my next question would be, are you a constitutionalist? And if all these, you say these apply to you, I want to know where on heaven's earth do we have the right to invade our neighbor if they in fact have not declared war on us? There's a issue there. That sounds like, are you ready? Communist China, who loves to invade their neighbors, who has taken over many other indigenous populations, seized their land over the eons and eons of time. So I think we have a little bit of communist infiltration on the show, Kevin. What say you?
What do you mean communist infiltration? That's a heck of a charge, an unsubstantiated, speculative charge, sir.
Speculative without question. Without question. What does a plant do in a communist nation? Don't they, very first thing, they're the loudest and the most boisterous to condemn their own government, at which time then they draw in all of their sympathizers, correct? So, but how could we invade our neighbor? How about if I get on here and invade my neighbor? Glenn, just help myself to the fridge.
I don't know. Is your neighbor going into your house? So you're talking about Max is what you're saying.
Yes, I am talking about Max. That puts a bad light on the American spirit.
You're saying you disagree with him saying, let's invade Mexico.
Absolutely. What gives us as an American nation the right to do that?
It's a national emergency. We need to secure our borders, and they're not listening.
Securing? What do you mean? Did you see the first thing that they did as soon as their troops come over and held our few guys at gunpoint for a few minutes? They immediately started to arrest the people that were coming over their southern border. They responded pretty quick.
What gives them the right to detain our troops on American soil? What gives them the right to detain our troops on their soil? We're Americans. We run this joint.
What gives them the right to detain troops on our soil? Nothing. Vaporize them, wipe them out, bury them deep, let the coyotes find them. What gives us the right to detain their troops over on their border? Nothing at this point. They have not declared war on us. So they had a few tequila-drinking drunken idiots out there coming across the border because they don't have a GPS and they probably don't know how to use a compass, and if they own one, it's probably broken. At this point, there is no reason for war. That's real obvious.
Well, it would be over in a minute. We'd hit them and they'd hit the ground.
Well, and bury them deep. Hey, that's right. Yeah, I love the West.
Let me make the point for war against Mexico, if I may, Terrence.
Okay.
You've got the narco-terrorists coming in. You've got people coming in across the country. And again, this is for entertainment purposes only. It's a hypothetical. What's to stop them from continuing to flood our area? And if they can't control the terrorists that chop off Americans' heads, then we need to for our own national security. What's preventing
right now? The Democrats are preventing us from putting proper national security in place.
Maybe you don't have a problem getting your head chopped off, but I do.
Kevin, we stop them at the border. And
we're not stopping them at the border.
President Trump has made that very clear. That is definitely the issue that needs to be addressed. And we need them to address those that are stopping us here from or preventing us here from doing it, which are the Democrats.
You either get the carrot or you get the stick.
Or you get the stick, the big stick.
Exactly.
Kevin, we can't be going invading our neighbors. What absolute ludicrous idea is that?
Well, you want a job done right, you do it yourself.
I'm not arguing that point, but have we reached that point? I guess that's the question here with all this.
Well, apparently you think we're commies, that we want to defend America. I don't know about you, sir. I'm offended.
You're offended that we should defend America.
I'm offended that you would take offense with saying because of self-defense we have to invade Mexico.
We do not invade our neighbors.
Well,
that would be a good question to point out there. Do we invade our neighbors because we don't like the way they run their government? We don't like the way that they are not being a good neighbor.
I don't know. I kind of think parts of Canada would be nice.
Well, yeah, there's some pretty nice. Get up to Banff and all those areas.
They're kind of funny, though, the way the Canadians, they're a little off, in my opinion. Nice people, but very nice.
They were my neighbor. When I lived up in Rochester, New York, they were my neighbors. I grew accustomed to them. They're very black and white people.
Good.
And they're actually, they have some strengths and qualities that we as Americans should adopt.
You know, you've kind of been derailed, so you know it's time for you to go then.
That's right, Buster. I'm out of here.
Have a good day, Terry.
You too.
Buster, wow. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And speaking of very smart, recently I had a chance to catch up with a young man that has done just incredible work, Logan Johnson of Centennial High School, recently made it into the top 20 on American Idol. Our great friend Tommy Alquist and I interviewed him recently on the Inspire Excellence podcast. Inspiring. This guy really knows what it's like to make it, and he loves his family. And we have so many good stories about that here in the Treasure Valley. And yes, we need to cover the news that impacts us. We can't be, how should I put this? We can't sit back and look at everything through rose-colored glasses. On the other hand, we have to acknowledge we have some wonderful stories. And I've been working with the next generation of young content producers or broadcasters here in the Treasure Valley. And what we're going to do within the confines of the broadcast center is to work on sharing those stories, because you can never get enough goodness to be inspired, right? So props to Logan for doing a great job and for sharing his story. What an inspiring young man. And by the way, coming up, we still didn't get to the story about the home prices and how we're building new homes. And then we have the builders going, hey, it's great for the Treasure Valley. I'm going to do something that probably will make you scream. And Pat from Middleton, our conservative truth detector, will go, I knew you were a liberal. I know you're a liberal, Kevin Miller. Maybe it's time to just put some restrictions on building. Well, we did that in California. It didn't work. I mean, does anybody have enough guts to even suggest that without being laughed out of your favorite restaurant or social gathering? Really? I mean, does anybody have enough guts to say maybe it's time to put a moratorium on growth? Oh, my goodness. Could you imagine just how much that would escalate prices? Okay. Hopefully I made you chuckle. Blessed to be with you. Kevin Miller on your home for Hannity and Fox News in the Treasure Valley, KIDO Talk Radio.